Hi everyone, I'm Cheyenne Jenstadter, the Archival Collections Manager at the Museum of Danish America. Welcome to the Special Collections Archive. So this is where I obviously sit and do most of my work, or stand. I catalog all in the computer, and I also have this nice Epson large format scanner, which has made it possible for me to scan some of those large ledgers that the Danish Sisterhood has and other items.
This is a super good scanner.
Yes, it's top of the line. We're very lucky that the museum has that available to them now.
Balte says hello. We have
Hi, Balte.
lodge number 53, president in Hartford, Connecticut. Do we have
Awesome.
anything from them? Do you
From
know?
Hartford?
Yeah.
Yes. So, well,
On this side of the
let's
office.
keep looking at the rest of the archive. So we have our collapsible, or not collapsible, modular shelves here that allow us to store more items in the archive. They are all organized by section. A large portion of our archive is genealogical, or supports the Genealogy Center. So we have a lot of family collections here. We also have organizational collections. So the Danish Sisterhood is one of those organizations, as well as other Danish American fraternal organizations and businesses. We also have some religion collections, so collections from different churches, rather large Danish Baptist collection, and of course for some of the local churches in the area, we have some church books for them as well. But most of you came here today to see our Danish Sisterhood of America collection, and as many of you may know, I recently completed cataloging all of the Danish Sisterhood ledgers that you donated to us either in 2016 or at some other various times, and the Danish Archive and Library in Blair also donated their holdings of Danish Sisterhood ledgers to me in January, I want to say. So that brings the total to 272 ledgers that I have recently cataloged. And since you were asking about Hartford, we can see here that the ledgers are all cataloged with their, or in their state first, alphabetically, and then with their lodge. So Connecticut, Lodge 53.
153.
153, sorry. I don't think I have any from them. I have some from New Haven and from Waterbury and Byram.
What is a ledger? Like what goes in there?
These ledgers have different things in them. Most of them are secretarial ledgers, so they hold meeting minutes from the Danish Sisterhood lodges. What's really interesting to see, well, these ones are, we'll do these. These ones are from Colorado, and you can see that at some point they changed from reading or writing in Danish to English, and that generally in most of the lodges so far that I've noticed has been sometime in the 1950s people decided to start writing in their ledgers in English. So it's a pretty interesting thing to see historically. We also have member list ledgers, so ledgers that list out all of the members in a lodge. So let's see. This one, as you can see, has some damage. So this is one of the reasons that we have them sitting in these nice protected boxes, which are something that we purchased for this collection specifically to house them. They're acid-free boxes. And as you can see, and this is some really important information that is good to have available because it helps with genealogical research also, to be able to see who participated in these lodges and when. And they often have information about where they lived at the time as well. So there's a wealth of information in these member ledgers. There are also treasury ledgers, so dues in and out. Usually, as I'm sure all of you know, it started as a death insurance benefit. So
good. We have someone asking, what is the Danish Sisterhood?
Oh, okay. So the Danish, I was just explaining that.
No,
that was a perfect question. Thank you for asking. The Danish Sisterhood of America started as a death benefit company, organization, and this was decided, or it started in 1883. The first lodge was in Nominee, Michigan, and I have one ledger from them, and that is a member ledger from 1890, so pretty much toward the beginning of them starting. It may have been the first ledger of them all, but so basically a woman decided that she wanted there to be a death benefit for her husband in case she were to die, and
wasn't she like the first one, like her husband was the first one to get it because she...
Beneficiary, because she did actually pass, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So in that way they started this organization. They no longer, I think they are still paying out death benefits for some people, but at this point in time, it is purely a social organization.
Where is that ledger?
You want to see it?
Yeah.
That was one of the things I was going to pull. So, we have it over here. The member ledger from Nominee, Michigan. Nogany,
yeah.
Sorry.
And that's how you spell that. Lodge number 1.
So, here, let's bring it over here so that I have some space.
But now, today, the organization primarily serves to preserve and share Danish heritage and culture. Still active lodges all around the country, and a national organization as well, holding conventions, other things like that.
Thanks, Nikki.
Got it.
Yeah, so this one, you can see that it's in Danish, so Ansøgbog for Dansk Søstersamfund. And we have the very first member here. Now, one question some of you may be asking, I'm not wearing any gloves. That is a little bit different with paper items than it is with objects. I just washed my hands before I came in here to do this, but it is a debate between museum professionals, and most archivists do not actually wear gloves because it desensitizes your fingers, and when you're working with really fragile documents, you want to make sure that you can tell how sensitive and fragile those pages are so that you don't damage them further. So, in case you were wondering why I'm not wearing gloves, that is why. But so this is from Lodge 1. Pages. And this one actually only has a few pages, so it was purely used as a member ledger. And I'm not sure why there are numbers skipped. So, yeah. That's what that looks like. Now, along with that, that segues nicely into that in 2018, is it shiny?
Yeah, I'm doing an angle. Nope, that's good. Yeah, okay. You stay, I'll move.
So these are the incorporation documents, or I think that's what it's called.
Articles of incorporation, I bet.
Charter documents, and some tax-exempt letters and stuff that when they filed for their 5013C
in Illinois?
nonprofit.
Oh, is this just one for one lodge?
No, this is where they filed their actual...
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know all of the information behind that. I'm still in the process of discovering more and more information about the sisterhood. But these were delivered to me back in 2018 by the National Board.
That's when we got
Sisterhood.
all of the sisterhood stuff.
This was in 2018.
Oh, okay.
So after the majority was donated to us. So a little timeline. In 2016, October 2016, the museum received a 78-box collection from the Danish Sisterhood of America. I probably should have started with that. And since then, we have reorganized it a bit, put it into acid-free boxes to preserve the items while I catalog them. And we also put the ledgers, as you saw, into acid-free book boxes so that they're easily accessible. And then I have received some smaller donations throughout the years, and this was one of them. These are some tax documents and letters for filing for the charter, for the national charter. But those are actually some of my favorite documents. So I pulled another one. This one is from Lodge number 7. And I think I actually have quite a few of the...
Oh boy.
Sorry.
Okay, that's good.
The charter documents from them because...
1888.
I think maybe some of them were sent back to the National for keeping. Otherwise, I'm not totally sure how all of them ended up together and donated. But one of the things that I really want to be able to do, and hopefully will be able to do this when I have a volunteer or assistant. Mom, if you're watching, that's you. I really hope to be able to scan and make available a lot of these photographs that we have so that I can do a crowdsourcing project and see if any of you can identify some of the people in these photographs. It just gives, and even some of the items that I have, maybe there's a story that you know behind something in the collection that will just add to the history of this collection. So I just pulled a few items for you to look at. These photos, I'll pick up a couple of them. I don't know if that'll be easier for you to see.
Yep.
Yeah?
Look at it.
These photos were actually used in the exhibit, the Danish Sisterhood exhibit that we had for several months starting in October of last year. And they're one of my favorite items that we found while preliminarily going through the Sisterhood collection. And that's because in our object collection we also have most of these ribbons. So Hannah, our archival, or well, no, she wasn't my assistant. She was one of our interns, and she was able to display the photos along with the ribbons, and that really was pretty neat, I thought. Some other things that I pulled.
Time out for questions. Okay.
Okay.
Well, we have an answer.
Oh.
The reason you don't have a ledger from Lodge 153 is because they only have one for membership, and they celebrated their 100th anniversary in 2019.
Oh, well, happy anniversary. And that's very cool that you only have the one for membership. That means it has a wealth of information dating back to 1919.
That's good.
Fast math.
And Deb wonders if there's a substantial cost for the protective supplies. Boxes.
There is definitely
files.
a cost. I don't have those numbers in front of me right now, but you're right, Deb. We use the acid-free boxes for all of the collections. That's 50-some boxes that are holding just the documents that we have over there. So Nikki's pointing to them now. All of these boxes are acid-free. I wish I had the numbers right in front of me.
Now, see how many.
And then we have all of the board boxes. I'm sorry, book boxes. So...
Oh, hello from Rock Island, Illinois. Swenson Swedish Immigration Research Center. Yay, Swedes!
Hello!
Oh, your mom's watching.
So, for example, let's see. One of the big boxes. Document box. So, for example, 5 of those big storage cartons are about $60. So 5 times 10, so that's about $600 just for the boxes, just for those document boxes. And then the other, the book boxes are probably about $15 a piece also, and I'm not sure exactly how many of those I have, but the costs do add up. We also have to buy folders to put the documents in. So even if they're in folders already, they're likely not acid-free folders. And if you happen to have caught my archiving at home video that I did, you would know, or if you don't, a lot of paper is processed. The way that it's processed, natural things in paper are acidic, and you have to remove that to prevent discoloration and aging of documents. So we only buy acid-free
Special
folders.
stuff.
Yes, and plastic, polypropylene. I think.
Sleeves? Like the picture sleeves?
Yes.
Yeah.
For pictures and for other documents. So those costs do add up for sure. Thanks for that question, Deb. And I also pulled some of the Yada things that we have. So it's Junior, oh no, I don't have the actual acronym.
There it is.
It's Junior American Danish Auxiliary, or Yada. When I found this, it made me laugh out loud, because it's like, it also means like, yeah, of course, yada. So it was a very clever name that they were given. But this is actually the document, it looks to be the document of meeting plan suggestions. So this is before it even became an actual thing, giving sort of an outline of what the meeting would be like, and then some easy Danish words or phrases, and information about the Danish flag. So this was a youth organization, and this is a pretty cool, I don't do story time, sorry. This is a pretty cool album. It has little items that they probably sold or made. I'm assuming that, and I'll have to get confirmation on this, of course, but that different youth made clothes for these dolls to present at different things. And then these are great. People of Yada wearing outfits or folk costumes, probably for places that they were from, or originally where their families were from. And then some of the Yada people from 119 in Omaha. And pictures to follow, never followed.
Now we know.
Yeah. So, these are some cool things that I found in the collection. Now, I have been focused since probably December, mainly on cataloging the ledgers. So, I haven't really delved into too much of the other documents and everything. That's going to be my next step. So hopefully I'll have another update for you maybe around January or so about what I've found. And but for now, let me show you how you can access the records that have been input on our View Our Collections. So if you're at your computer right now.
Got 2 Yada questions too.
Oh, okay.
What years was the Yada group active? Do you know?
That's a great question. I'm going to write it down and I'm going to get back to you.
And then Michelle wants to know about the album, since it's not archival. Is that something you would take apart?
It is. I plan to scan it as is right now so that we know how it was originally stored. And then I plan to take those photographs out of those tacky pages, or what used to be known as magic photo pages. They're not very magic, spoiler. They actually, when the glue dries, if it's too hot or whatever, I know that some people, if there's anybody who was at my presentation for the Sisterhood in October, some people asked about these magic pages and how to get their photographs off of that. I actually found from the ALA, there's a how-to sort of thing, and you can use non-wax
dental floss.
Dental floss, thank you, to go behind the photograph and get it off of there. And most of those probably have backs that aren't too, because of, they look to be like 70s, maybe 80s for the photographs, so they probably have not just a paper backing. The paper used probably has more of a slick sheen on it, I'm hoping. Makes it easier to get out of those pages also. So yeah, Michelle, I will be taking those out of the album and then putting them probably just into folders in their own box.
Good. Okay, so
What was the other question? Years for Yada.
yes.
Okay. Okay, so if you're on your own computer right now, you can either open a new window and follow along with my voice, or you can just follow along with what I'm doing. Can you see it very well?
Yep.
Okay. And then try it later. So I'm on the Museum of Danish America's main page. It's danishmuseum.org.
Yep.
And then I'm going to explore, and then so I clicked on explore, and then down here under collections there is a link that says view our collection. I'm going to click on that, and it brings us to this lovely page. Now, until recently, this was something that was only available to members of a certain level, but we've just made it available to everybody. So that's pretty neat. So let's go, I'm going to go to advanced search. And you'll see there are all these check boxes here. All of the ledgers at this time are going to be in library, so you don't really need to search anything else. If you want, there might be some objects in our collection. How about we just do this? We do objects, photos, library, archives. So we'll just search these 4 places because this is where your lodge items would be stored. Now, in search terms, for everything that I have cataloged, I've put the lodge name in search terms, the location of the lodge number, all of those things are in search terms. So when you're searching in View Our Collection, you want to put your search term in quotes. I'm using Olga Lodge because Lodge 11, Olga Lodge, we got our most complete collection from them. 43 ledgers from that lodge alone. So you put Olga Lodge in quotes and hit search. And as you can see, there are some items that pens and press embossing, all from Lodge 11, and voting marbles. So these are all things that Angela would have cataloged. So I'm going to show you my stuff here. With just the library, it'll bring up the 43 records of the ledgers. So you can click on Ledger 1. Now, not all of them are complete. I want to remind you, I mean, it takes a lot of time to scan all of these. But I tried to get some scans, and a lot of the member ledgers have more scans to be able to see all of the names in those ledgers. But along with this ledger, you'll see there are other search terms, other subjects from the Library of Congress, subject headings, and a description of the ledger. So then if you click on the pictures, you're able to see a closer scan of this ledger. And as you can see here, we have names.
It's pretty rough. Pretty rough shape.
Yes. Well, this one, as you can see here, is from 1889 to 1950. So they used it. They used it. And but this is another reason that it's good to have them not being accessed so frequently. Having access to these lists, you can see which, member you're looking for. And I'm working currently on transcribing all of these so that you can actually see in the people field here, which isn't even here because I don't have them right now. But you will be able to find people's names and actually search by name in the future. But as you can imagine, transcribing hundreds of names in old handwriting can take some time. So I'm working on that. So this is probably a more normal, I would have probably scanned only about 4 or 5 pages from a ledger, normally speaking.
Just a sample.
Just a sample so you can see what it's about, and then see if you were wanting to do research in the future, then we can discuss either scans or coming in to view them.
Yeah, so what if somebody sees one they think they're interested in? What do they do?
So you can contact me and see if there's specific information in the ledger that you're interested in, like specific pages from specific dates. We could work on scanning those, and that does have a dollar cost to it.
Sure, it's time.
Yes, I would give you the stats on that if you were wanting to get scans. Otherwise, we could also schedule an appointment for you to come in and view the ledgers that you're wanting to view. So you'd hang out with me here.
Do we have scans of books that are not in our collection? No.
No, we only... I thought you were asking me that question at first.
Sorry.
That's okay. So we only have scans from the ledgers that are in our possession in our collection. Can you expand on that question? Are you looking for something in particular?
The Genealogy Center might have access to other databases and things like that for other books. That's the only...
Are you specifically asking about ledgers, though, or...
Yeah.
Well,
no, I don't know. I'll let you know when I know.
Okay.
Another question is, what computer format do you use to scan?
What computer format?
PDF or JPEG?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I'm uploading them for the website, I use JPEG, and it's only at a 200
dpi.
DPI resolution. If I'm scanning for someone who has ordered a scan of a photograph or something like that, then we would scan it at a much higher resolution, and probably a TIFF. Sorry about my clock.
It's cute.
It goes off like every 15 minutes, so... So yeah, so if it's a scan for someone, like say someone is doing research for a book or something like that, and they want to include a photograph for something like that, a publication or whatever, then we would scan it at a much higher resolution and do a TIFF file. Generally speaking, when I have done digital library collections, you always scan first in TIFF format at a higher resolution, and then you make your edits in a second a copy of that photo. And so if you're editing for color or whatever, for example, if a photo is very faded and so you work with the grayscale there and you try and make it a little more saturated, then you would save it in that format, and then you would, from the copy, you would make your JPEG for the website to be a smaller size.
Good. So Lisa, she was thinking, like as a safeguard for them, like a scan of a ledger, but since they hold, she's the one with the original ledger that we don't have from 153.
Right.
So she's wondering about a scan to back up with ours. It's like a digital copy.
So Lisa, why don't you send an email to, or send a message about that to the museum Facebook page, so like send a DM, and I will talk to some people about what we can do about that, because I do agree it'd be nice to have a backup of your ledger since there is all that information in there, but I don't know totally how we would go about holding those records since we don't actually hold the physical copy in our collection. So I can do some deeper looking, but if you want to, you can either send me an email or send a message to the Facebook, and I'll look into that.
She says sure.
Great.
Michelle wants to know, do you have many membership applications that would give place of birth?
That's a good question, and we do. We actually also received membership cards in that donation. And that has been a volunteer project. I'm trying to think where it is. Yes, here it is. So, whoa. There's a lot more information than there was the last time that I looked. So you can see here, it's been a volunteer project. Our volunteers obviously aren't here at the moment, but sorry, I'm going up to the top here. Well, it doesn't say in the column. See if I can find one that has. But usually on those records, it has, okay, so lodge number, certificate number, number on local lodge books, surname, given name, birthplace. So this woman was born in...
So where did this information come from?
So all of these, one of the other things that was donated to us, and they live at the Genealogy Center right now, are membership cards. So they're basically just like a note card, an index card, that's the word that I'm looking for. An index card that has typed all of this information about each of the members, and they were held at the national level. So those were donated to us, and a few of our volunteers have been working on transcribing them into an Excel document so that all of that information is searchable, which again helps the Genealogy Center research.
This is another question. Are there specific items you look for from lodges to add to the collection more than others?
At this time, I'm not sure if we have any holes in what we would call holes in the collection where things aren't represented. That is certainly something that I can ask for in the future when I have gotten further into cataloging the rest of the documentary collection. I can tell you that we probably have all of the Constitution or convention books and Constitution information. We have several of these booklets from several different years. This one's in Danish, obviously, but they have all the bylaws and everything from various years, so we probably aren't in need of any of those. Now, I personally have a big love of photographs, so if there are photographs, yeah. But here's what I can say to that. If you do find something in your own home collection or with your lodge collection, I would please just ask you to email me, and you can take some photos of the items and ask if we are interested in those items before you send them. It would help us out to be able to make that decision ahead of time, and then it also doesn't cost you the money to send those items. So right now, I don't know of anything that I am missing or looking for to complete the collection, but I may have more information regarding that by the next time I do an update. And I hope, like I said, I hope to do another one after I've been in the documents for a while. Let's informally schedule it for January.
So what are you working on next now that the ledgers are all in and online?
So I decided to start with, since the 2016 donation is the largest donation of materials, I'm actually going to start by cataloging some of the materials that were donated at separate times that are smaller. So this is a perfect example of that. These were donated in 2018, and it was just these items. So I'm going to catalog these first along with other ones so that I don't mistakenly catalog them as part of that larger collection. Now, something that I want to point out, which is different from our other collections, this collection is so large that I did a different numbering system. I'm looking for something here. I'll show. Usually we only have 3 numbers. Oh, that's my back end of the scene. Usually we only have 3 numbers for our object ID, but because I wanted to catalog everything with their lodge, basically, I added a 4th number. So you'll have the accession number here, so 2016, this was the 210th accession that year. That means the 210th donation that year. And then 11 is the lodge number. Olga Lodge number was 11, and then this is the 3rd ledger in that lodge cataloged. So any other documents that I find now going forward will be 2016-210-011 dot whatever number comes next.
So Lodge 11 will always have 011
exactly
in that second group between the periods?
Correct.
Oh, fun. It's like learning a secret code.
Yeah. So now you'll be able to know when you're looking for your stuff. Is there another question?
For lodges who have photo books and scrapbooks but are not ready to part with them, what is your best recommendation for preserving them until they can bring them to us?
So, my best recommendation, if they're already, if they're in like an older album, is to buy. Ooh, and I knew I shouldn't have closed out of Gaylord. Gaylord Archival is a great resource for archival materials. Something that you can do that is relatively inexpensive. Say you have an album that all of the photos, when it's closed, all the photos are touching each other. You can get acid-free tissue paper to place in between the pages, which just saves the photos from destroying each other, basically. Because when you process photos, they use a lot of chemicals to process photos, and especially more back in the day. So protecting the other photographs in there with that acid-free tissue paper is a relatively inexpensive way to do that. Did I answer it?
I think so. Keep them clean and dry is what I would have guessed.
Yes, that too.
With everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready for more questions? Does
Yeah,
anybody
if people
have any more?
questions. If people have questions, I think I've talked about Oh, I was going to be dynamic and take a box off the shelf for you guys.
Oh.
So, I got one of the lightest boxes. I'm not super strong, but... So, this is a collection of rolled photographs from conventions, and shameless plug again for my my attempt to unroll a photograph and rehydrate it. There's a video on our YouTube channel that you can watch. By creating a microclimate, you can flatten out and rehydrate photographs, which is good because, I mean, these are huge, long photographs, obviously. But it's not great for them to be rolled like that. It's just the way they were stored originally, because where else are you going to store a huge photograph like this? But over time, the tops of the photograph can crack and get damaged. And I attempted this with my with my grandpa's muster photograph, and his actually did have some cracking throughout the photograph because the emulsification, I guess, started cracking.
Emulsifier, yeah.
But so that is one of the projects that I'm really interested in doing now that I tried it out on my own photograph. I feel ready to do it with yours.
Good.
So.
Yeah, that's something you can watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
Really quick, easy,
yeah,
fun little tutorial.
I think it's only 3 minutes long, so it's not me gabbing on forever like this. Any other questions?
There are.
Yay!
Do you have items from regions in addition to lodges? For example, EGC, the Eastern region items.
Indeed I do. Those will also be some of the things that I will be getting into. I'm not going to put that back on the shelf because I don't want to fall down on camera. But, let's see. So, back in August, we, with the help of some volunteers and with the help of Hannah, one of our interns, we resorted all the 78 boxes that we had received and put them into new homes in acid-free boxes. And we received a bunch of binders. And now I'm looking. We received a bunch of binders that had materials from the regions. So I guess short answer is yes. Oh, here they are. So I have like Midwest region districts, I guess is the question. So miscellaneous districts, California, Midwest, and Honored Sisters. We have Pacific Northwest, California. I swear I have more of that. Oh, East Coast, Western. Wasn't that one of them East Coast that
The
she was
Eastern
asking?
region.
Eastern region. So I'm betting that the East Coast one is the Eastern region.
Does the acid-free paper also help to protect newspaper articles?
It does. However, newspapers are just, they're a problematic material. The ink and the paper itself, it just is going to yellow. To reduce that, you could put them in the polypropylene, or I think I'm saying that right, polypropylene sleeves, so the plastic sleeves that you can buy at on Gaylord Archival. You can also just put them in between the acid-free tissue paper or or just regular acid-free paper, sorry. I'm also thinking, because what we often do here, we don't always keep original newspapers. What we do is we take a photocopy on acid-free paper and then save that photocopy, because then it does preserve at least the information that's on it. That's my best response for that.
That's a good idea. Deb says, over the years, I've heard some lodges store their records in a garage or basement. What room is best when lodges keep their records?
Well, you want to make sure that you are storing things that are off of the ground in case of flooding, for one thing. As you can see here, these shelves are at least 3 inches off the ground, so it would have to flood quite a bit in here to cover that. So making sure that they're at least 3 to 5 inches off the ground would be best. Garages, if they have air conditioning, are okay, but really you want to go with something that has some temperature control. For most of your documents, keeping things at a stable temperature is really important. So as much as you may not want to use the closet space for it, that is probably going to be best inside your house. Also, not being under harsh light. Obviously, these are in boxes, so it's not something to worry about.
And no natural light in here.
Yeah, exactly.
The basement.
No natural light to fade things. But does that answer that, I think?
I think so.
Yeah, so temperature control is important. Acid-free containers are important. And making sure you keep things off the ground so that they don't get water damage.
Okay. I don't see. I've got a last call for questions, because that's what's all we have. Do you have anything else you wanted to show off while we're here?
Well, these shelves, I guess. We did also buy these shelves specifically to house the Sisterhood collection, and I think they were about $150 a piece. We bought 5 shelves. We haven't put up the 5th shelf yet, but it's available. And they're really nice powder-coated shelves, so these are also archival grade, sturdy, good shelves.
What's your favorite thing you have discovered while working on this project?
Oh boy. My favorite thing. That's putting me on the spot.
You talked about the cabinet photos, right? Those photos.
Yeah, those are some of my favorites, but actually I think this was also used in the exhibit, and it's a fan, so a hand fan that was given out at a convention, I think, Lodge 21. And this is the lodge number, but I think that it was held, let's see, I think because of those Columbines, it was held in Denver, but people were given fans with their own lodge number. And then whoever owned this had sisters sign at the convention, which I just think is sweet.
Good. Okay. Another question: Do you use online volunteers to help with transcribing or other things?
I would love to. Absolutely love to. I don't have everything scanned because unfortunately I also need volunteers to do that process on site. But I hope to work on that. Are you volunteering? Because send me your information. I could potentially, I guess I have scans of a lot of the member ledgers, and if you want to transcribe the member names, I would be happy to pass those scans on to you. I spent all of yesterday actually working on that, and you get cross-eyed by the end of the day.
Oh, handwriting is never easy.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
So if you're interested, or if anybody listening is interested in doing some transcription, I can certainly start working on some projects for people. So just, again, send us a message, and I can start setting that up.
Good. That's all I have for you.
Okay, well, that's all I have for you. So
Great.
thank you so much for joining me. It was really fun to show you a little bit of what I do here every day. Yeah. I hope you're also more than welcome to send questions if you have any additional ones after we're done here. But
What's your email address?
my email, well, can you just put it with the post or something?
Yeah, I will.
My last name is a little bit long.
And your first name, too.
Well, it just has my first initial.
Okay.
Anyway, Nikki will add my email address to the post, so you can send me an email if you have any questions. And I guess, tack for den gang. Thank you for this time.